Hey y'all, welcome back to another live segment. Happy Thursday. Today we are moving forward with another characteristic, another CEO Stylist characteristic. I hate when I see curls popping up after the fact. Like I just looked in the mirror and nothing was popping up. But as I was saying, today we are talking about another characteristic of a CEO stylist, and we're focusing on faithfulness. We are focusing on faithfulness today. So let me know in the comments if you're excited about that characteristic, if you have faith in yourself, if you have faith in your journey, if you can relate to that characteristic, let me know. I will say I am the type of person that didn't always have faith, but over time it has definitely grown and increased. The more I prayed, the more I joined communities of women who are Christians and who are believers and heard other people's testimonies and really just thought back on my story. Journaling has also helped me to increase my faithfulness and also too just building my relationship with God, reading the Bible for a long time and still till this day. It's a lot of stuff I don't understand about the Bible. Sometimes it can be a little hard to understand, but like this morning, I read the easy version that does exist. So I try to read it every day, the first thing that I do when I wake up, which I will encourage y'all to do. I know it's so easy. I have a timer on my phone that wakes me up every day. So it's so easy as soon as you turn the timer off to be like, oh, let me check Instagram, let me check TikTok, let me check my email, let me do this, let me do that. Everything but opening up the Bible and reading. So I've been trying to be more disciplined with that. I know the first thing that I do, even when I open my eyes, is I just pray and I thank God for waking me up this morning because He didn't have to. So, faithfulness plays a huge part in your journey as a CEO stylist, and that's what we are talking about today. I have a couple of points that I want to hit on um, that hopefully will encourage you and inspire you and just motivate you to keep going in your journey, even when things don't look the way that you expected them to. And I have a story that I'm going to tell. I feel like I always have a story. My nose is like running. I don't know why it always does this, but I'll just have to deal with it for now. But for those of you who don't know me, my name is Kristen Johnson. I'm the CEO and founder of Project Style University, where I help first generation personal stylists truly transform their love for styling into a profitable business. I do that through mentorship, I do that through one on one coaching, group coaching, and of course, these live segments and my YouTube videos. I have been styling since 2013. Well, I started blogging in 2013, transitioned into editorial styling in 2014, and then transitioned into personal styling in 2016. I like to call myself a style savant because I do more than your typical personal stylist. I focus on body shapes, I focus on capsule wardrobes, but I also focus on confidence building and really shifting my clients' relationship when it comes to their overall style, appearance, and how they see themselves. So I launched PSU in 2020, y'all. So before the pandemic was even a thought. I wanted to create a coaching space or just a space for personal stylists who are seeking resources, help, and just a better understanding of what it looked like to be successful in this industry. Because I didn't have that growing up, I didn't have that in building my business. I learned everything from the jobs that I've had, and I also learned everything from trial and error. So I wanted to create a space where I could coach stylists, provide them with resources, create courses, digital products, and just provide advice and motivation for them along their journey. So PSU launched in 2020. I was taking one-on-one coaching clients and also doing a lot of virtual workshops because we were mid-pandemic. So doing a lot of virtual workshops. A lot of programs, and I'm excited to be getting back into that. This year, I hosted Styles of Impact, which I plan on bringing back maybe quarter four. We will see. And I'm also always taking private coaching clients. So if you're wanting a one on one session with me, that is an option. Feel free to reach out. I need to start putting the link to the landing page of PSU into all of these descriptions. So I will go back and do that later today. Let me actually write that down because if I don't write that down, it's not going to happen. So add landing page. Okay, cool. So for today, we're talking about faithfulness, the power of faithfulness, building a silent business that lasts. I would like to start off and say that I've been in the styling industry for quite some time, and it wasn't until maybe a couple of years ago where I really started to focus in on my faith and my relationship with God. I mean, I grew up in church. He was always there. He was always directing me and guiding me. But I just knew that I was in control. I knew that I was doing everything. I was successful. Success for me was having a bunch of clients, making a bunch of money, um, getting a bunch of accolades, and being seen on social media. That was success for me. And when I realized that none of that even really mattered after a while, I had no choice, honestly, but to start focusing more on my faith. And I always had faith, it's always been there. I always believed in myself to a certain extent. I always believed in myself. I always knew that I had gifts and talents. I always knew that, God was there. But I wasn't really like focusing in on Him. And it got to a point where I felt like I was going through the same cycles over and over again. I would have these spurts of like consistent clients and making consistent money, and then that's where all my focus was. I wasn't thinking about, anything else but that. And then after a while, I, started to lose those clients and or things started to dry up in my business, and I had no choice but to seek God for help because I'm like, okay, well, whatever I was doing is no longer working. So I don't know what to do at this point. I need to get some help. So joining a community of women who are women entrepreneurs and are Christians and believers has really helped me to increase my faith even more. And hearing testimonials, knowing my story and understanding what I've experienced and what I've gone through and what God has brought me out of and what He has done for me has also helped me to just be a better business owner and a better person in general. So my mindset started to shift, and my understanding of what success is or was at the time started to shift into something different. So I was so focused on getting clients and booking clients. And every time I went out to a networking event, I was always thinking about like, who can I meet? Like, okay, that's $1,300 right there. Okay, $1,500 right there. That's all that I cared about. But when I started to shift my perspective and my mindset, I'm like, first of all, I don't need a bunch of clients to be successful. That's number one. Number two, not every client is my client. Not every opportunity was created for me. I don't need to say yes to everything. I don't need to do everything. I don't need to put my name on everything. Like, I don't need to be at the forefront of everything. And sometimes at all times, rest is sometimes better than working and doing all the hard stuff. And also praying more. My prayer life increased, which has been very, very helpful for me. It has really like helped me with how I think, my mindset, and how positive my thoughts are. And even when things aren't going the way that I want to, I always feel like um, I just don't really focus too much on it as much as I used to. Because there were times when I was unemployed and my business wasn't successful. My business wasn't bringing in any money. And I wasn't on unemployment at the time. And it was very stressful. But little by little, I was focusing my mind on other things. I was working out. I was spending time with family, spending time with friends, um, going outside and just enjoying nature and things like that. And like I said, over time, my mindset started to shift, and that's what I hope this conversation does for you. And all of these conversations that I have on YouTube Live and even my videos, I haven't actually posted a video pertaining to the business of styling in quite some time. I've been focusing on my styling business, but I truly believe that these lives have been enough, but eventually I will get back into doing that. But I do want to add, I'm in another season of transitioning into a new chapter. And I've been in this season before of being unemployed. I was actually let go from my job last week, and it took me off guard. Definitely, was it definitely was something that I did not expect. Now, was I upset? I mean, it is what it is. I've been out of work and laid off from a job at this point 3 times. So it gets easier with time. But obviously, that is God's way of telling me that what I'm doing right now, my businesses and content creation and all of that can keep me, and can he obviously can keep me. But those are the things that I should probably be focusing my time on, which I was already doing. But a job isn't the end all be all, and it's only but so much you can do, but so much you can make at a job. um and not to knock anyone that works a 9 to 5, I truly believe a 9 to 5 is your first client. The company believes in you, they pay you consistently, and they appreciate the value, but they appreciate your value that you add. But then again, they also don't care about you. The fact that they can let you go effective immediately, and not even think twice about, what you brought to the table, also shows you that you have more inside of you that will help you to make as much money, 10 times as much money as you probably made at that 9 to 5. You just have to believe. So, like I said, I've been laid off 3 times at this point, but this time feels a little different. I don't necessarily know how to explain it, but I will say I feel more encouraged to like do things and to show up and to tell people what I'm doing and to be more visible. And although I'm already pretty visible, but to be more visible, and to share things that I probably wouldn't usually share or wouldn't normally share. So let me get into the 4 speaking points for today before I talk y'all into a whole. And like I said, I really want to make sure I don't spend too much time on this today because I got some other things I got to focus on. But 4 speaking points for today. Number 1, faithfulness versus hustle. Staying rooted in purpose really leads to sustainable success, not just short term wins. So, faithfulness versus hustle. So I know when I first started styling, hustling was like the thing to do. And a lot of people still do hustle. A lot of people still believe in the hustle culture. But for me, I get tired. I am not motivated. I am not creative when I am forcing things to be something that they weren't necessarily meant to be. And or I've also learned, when I first started styling, even mid career for me, people would reach out and want to collaborate. People would reach out with opportunities. A lot of them weren't paid. And not to say that you can't take paid opportunities. You have to look at it from a perspective of, okay, how does this benefit me? Money isn't always the answer to everything. Maybe you can get access to that person's network. Maybe you can get an opportunity to speak and, you know, uh, flex your speaking muscle and get content of you speaking and share that to get more speaking engagements that are paid. Like there's so many different ways that you can, take on an opportunity that is unpaid and still benefit from it. But back then, I was just saying yes to everything and not really thinking twice about how any of that would benefit me, or benefit the other person, that I'm working with. A lot of the times too, when I first started styling, people would question my rate and they would negotiate with me like, oh, I can't afford that, but I have this. And I would say yes to it. And it's like, look, now if you're new to the industry, if you're trying to get your feet wet, cool. But at this point in time in my career, I'm not, even if you're new to the industry, I just feel like if the opportunity isn't doesn't align with what you're looking to do and doesn't align with the path that God has you on, then working with that person for $400 isn't going to benefit you. Like, not all money is good money. And that's also something that I had to realize too. And that's a part of that hustle mentality. You are always constantly looking for the next dollar, always constantly looking for the next opportunity, reaching out to people and expecting people to get back to you and expecting things to look a certain way because you're doing all of these things. And then when they don't, you feel like, oh, I'm not doing enough. When honestly, you're probably doing too much. So, when it comes to having faith, you have to believe that every opportunity that comes your way is not for you. Only the right opportunities are for you. And you would know that they're right opportunities if they align with the goals that you have set for yourself, if they align with the plan that God has for you. And in order to understand that, you then have to have a relationship with God. You then have to read the Bible. And I'm not saying this because I'm a pro at it. I still have trouble hearing from Him sometimes. But I'm getting to a space, or have been at this space for quite some time, and knowing, like, I know my value, I know my worth, and I'm not just saying yes to anything just because it looks good, or just to say that, oh, I'm doing this just to tell people on social media that I've done it. So faithfulness versus hustle. And also too, when you're not faithful and you're not doing things that is rooted in your purpose, a lot of that will kind of come back to bite you in the butt, because you'll spend time, spend money, spend energy doing things that don't necessarily align, just to have one picture to post on social media, or just to say that you styled someone, and just because you styled that person, you think, oh, I'm saying I styled this person, I'm now going to get a bunch of clients from that. And then that doesn't happen. So you really have to be mindful of what you say yes to. And I'm trying to get in the space of, talking to God first before I say yes to anything. Like, all right, this opportunity came to me, and He already know. The crazy thing is that He literally has planned out our entire lives. So He knows what's going to happen in our life before we know it's going to happen. He knew that I was going to lose my job before I knew that I was going to lose my job. So it's like, okay, now talking to Him, like, okay, now what do you want me to do? What are you saying to me? What am I supposed to be focusing my time on right now? And I didn't necessarily have that conversation with Him yet, but this live is reminding me too. Um, but I just felt led to just continue moving, continue doing what I am already doing, like going live weekly, sharing content that makes sense for what it is that I'm doing. Reaching out to people. That was one thing that I, was felt led and motivated to do, was reach out to people and send them an email and let them know, introducing myself and pitching myself to potential clients. I haven't gotten any responses back yet, but I'm going to follow up. So just doing the work, but also, I don't want to say not having specific expected not expecting anything specific, but expecting good things. And I feel like that's where the disconnect is. And at least for me, the disconnect was, okay, I want, what if I do this thing, this is the outcome that I want to happen. And when I do the thing and the outcome isn't how I expected it to happen, I'm now upset, feeling like I did something wrong. When in reality, I probably was never supposed to do that thing in the first place. Or, or maybe I was supposed to do that thing, but it wasn't supposed to turn out the way that I thought it was going to turn out. So it's just shifting your perspective on life and on things and how things happen, not getting upset, I mean, being human and feeling, but not sitting in those feelings and not allowing those feelings to stop you from pushing forward. So, moving on to number two, showing up when no one's watching. Y'all, it's literally nobody on this live segment right now. Who am I talking to? I'm talking to the people that are going to watch the replay. I'm talking to the people that may come back and watch this years from now. I'm not deleting this. I'm not getting off just because no one's watching. I'm talking to whoever is on the other side when they find this content. Same thing for social media and posting. Just because somebody didn't like your content doesn't mean they didn't see it. And I don't know about y'all, but on my Instagram, they've updated it to a way that you can see who actually viewed your content. Not, I don't think you can see the specific person, but you can see the number of people that have viewed your content versus the number of people that have actually liked and engaged with your content. So I'll get 500 views, but only 5 people like my content. So people are watching, people are seeing. They're just not always engaging. So that's definitely something that you have to remind yourself of. It's not about the likes. It's not about, all that stuff that social media kind of makes you feel like is important. It's about sharing the content, adding value to people's lives, making an impact with what it is that you're doing, and just leaving it at that, and allowing God to just move through all of that, if that was something that you were supposed to do. So showing up when no one's watching, being consistent when you're not being applauded, booked, or recognized. Like I said, there's nobody on here, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to show up next week. That doesn't mean I'm going to stop creating content for y'all because there's nobody on here right now. I'm on the process of monetizing. I'm on the path to monetizing my YouTube channel. I don't have time to not or to stop posting because I'm doing a live segment and nobody's on here. Like, I'm not stopping. I'm gonna continue going because one, the goal is to monetize. Two, the goal is to monetize and make an even bigger impact. And three, I have things that I need to do. I want to partner with brands. I want to get more brand deals. I want to do a lot of things. And I don't have time to stop because somebody's not watching or someone's not looking or someone's not liking the content that I'm putting out. Who cares? As long as it's helping somebody. So, moving on to number three, faithfulness to your growth. Being committed to your own personal and professional development makes you magnetic to clients. Makes you magnetic to clients. So, when it comes to entrepreneurship and the growth of your business, that growth also plays a part into your growth. When you grow, your business grows. And when your business grows, your audience grows and your impact grows. And you're able to reach more people. But you have to understand that you evolve over time. So when I started my business when I was 20, I'm now 31. Like, I'm not the same person that I was 10 years ago, 11 years ago. I'm a completely different person. I think different. I look a little different. I'm showing up differently. I act different. And not different in a bad way, or not different where, okay, nobody notices me, but different in a good way, in the fact that I have matured and I have grown. And if you're not maturing and growing, then you need to take a step back and check yourself. Maybe you're not hanging around the right people. Maybe you're not, in the right environment, because you should be growing every single day. And it is hard. It is hard to grow and to learn more and understand things that you may not like or you may not agree with. But that's all a part of entrepreneurship, growth, and understanding who you are as a person, and who you were meant to serve. So you have to be committed to developing yourself as a stylist. So learning more about brands, learning more about designers, learning more about your target audience and their needs, learning more about why you decided to even become a stylist. My why has changed so many times. It's always been rooted in generational wealth. It's always been rooted in, the fact that I love entrepreneurship and I believe that everybody should have some type of business to lean on. Especially, especially for someone like me who has been let go from a job 3 times. Like, I can't depend on no daggone job. Like, I can't. It's nice to have one. I've applied for a few opportunities since being let go. I appreciate every single job that I've had because I've learned so much from the jobs, but I cannot depend on them. They don't care about me. They only care about money and the sales that I bring in. And if I'm not doing that, I'm gone. So the only having a business for me is me depending on myself and also depending on God and the gifts and talents that He's blessed me with to do the things and serve the people that I was meant to serve. So I enjoy being a business owner. It's not always fun, but it's a part of it's a part of who I am, and me growing and maturing into the woman that I was created to be um, has really helped me to be a better business owner as time goes on. And as I experience more things, I'm able to, learn from those experiences and move forward with a different mindset and with a better understanding. So, last but not least, staying the course through setbacks. Perfect timing and great segue, because I'm not the only one that has been let go from my job. Other people have been let go. A lot of people have been being let go from their jobs for every year. Every day, I'm sure someone is being laid off every single day. And how you perceive that setback, if you consider that to be a setback, um, and and that's what I mean by how do you perceive it? Because for a lot of people, they're stressing out, they're freaking out, they're crashing out. They're like, oh, I have bills, I have kids, I have a house. What am I gonna, da, da, da. And other people like me, again, I've been here before. So the crashing out and the crying and the acting crazy, that was me before. I'm not gonna say that I didn't do that, because I did. But now it's like, okay, all right. Like at this point, what more needs to happen? Like I'm gonna just keep doing what I'm doing. I have a computer that's paid for. I have a phone that's paid for. I have a platform to share. I have a camera that I create all of my content on, because my phone is a little wonky at times. I have what I need. Even if I didn't have the phone, even if I didn't have the camera, I have the phone. Even if I didn't have the phone, I have the computer. Like, I would have figured it out. And that's another thing. That's what entrepreneurship is about, figuring things out. You're not going to know the answer to everything right away. You're not going to know, you're not going to understand everything that's happening to you. And everything that's happening to you, honestly, isn't always meant for you to understand in that point in time. It probably won't make sense until years later. Or maybe even next week. It might not make sense this week, but it might make sense next week. So you just never know. But the one thing that you can do is stay the course and have faith. Faithfulness helps you to navigate rejection, slow seasons, and comparison without giving up. So you can't give up. Entrepreneurship and running a business is all about growing your faith and understanding who you are and not being affected by the negative things that may be happening to you. Your current circumstances may not be perfect. And nothing is perfect. But when I say perfect, I mean they may not be ideal to what you want them to be. Um, and that's okay. You're exactly where you're supposed to be at this point in time. And if it wasn't for you going through that thing or experiencing that thing or being let go from that thing, then you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be here. So faithfulness really helps you to navigate those hard times and those setbacks. Um, but also shifting your perspective and really giving yourself time to understand like where you are and why you may be going through something, even if you don't understand, just being open to where you are and what you could be doing and where you could be spending your time and how you could be thinking. And, all the things will definitely be a benefit to you. So I hope that this encouraged you. I hope that this was helpful. Faithfulness is definitely one of my favorite CEO stylist traits because it's so important to have faith in yourself, but it's even more important to have faith in God and to know that He has you on the path that um, is leaning towards success or going in a direction of success. And You also have to understand your definition of success might be different from his for you. And really shift your perspective on how you see where you currently are in your circumstances, because you're not just there for no reason. You're there for a reason. So let me know in the comments if you have any questions, if you're watching the replay, if you're watching live. I would love to connect with you, learn more about your journey as a stylist. And if you're interested in a one-on-one session, let me know. And yeah, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see y'all next week. Bye.